All right, guys, got a little bit of news here for those of you who might have been excited for the upcoming Tiana series. You might have wanted to share that with your kids. It was supposed to be based on the classic movie The Princess and the Frog. Of course, that highlighted the first black Disney princess. And it was announced over 5 years ago that this was going to be a series on Disney Plus. Now, here we are 5 years later, and it is now being announced that the project has been scrapped. Now, guys, I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here, and I want to talk about it with you guys and see how you feel about this. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Now, let's dive into this, guys. We have an article here on the Hollywood Reporter, and I want to read the headline for you, and it says, Tiana Disney Plus series is shelved as Walt Disney Animation abandons long-form streaming content. Now, first announced in 2020, the Disney Plus show was envisioned as a musical featuring Anika Noni Rose, reprising her role as Tiana, Disney's first black princess from The Princess and the Frog. Now, I want you guys to focus on that word, on those words, Disney's first black princess. Disney's first black princess. Okay, that tells you right there, there is history here. That's monumental. Disney's first black princess getting shelved. You know what I'm saying? What does it remind me of? Oh, it reminds me of Marvel's first black superhero that got shelved, that basically got thrown out. Now, keep in mind, guys, I said Marvel's first black superhero. That's not Shuri. That's T'Challa, okay? So the pattern that I'm starting to sense here is that these historical black characters are not very high on the list of priorities for Disney. And this is something that I've been talking about for years. And I highlighted this in a video that I did actually over a year ago. But I'm going to get into that in a minute. Let's see what it has to say here. Walt Disney Animation Studios has officially pulled the plug on its Tiana Princess series as it abandons making original long-form content for streaming. They're also abandoning all of the kids out there, all of the little girls, maybe some little boys too, that were looking to this character. Isn't it Disney that always talks about, we're giving you something that you can relate to? They look like you. Isn't that what they said for Black Captain America? A hero who looks like me. So they're abandoning making original long-form content for streaming, but they're also abandoning a huge section of their audience that they acted like they cared about. A spokesperson confirmed there will be some layoffs in its Vancouver studio as a result of this shift in business strategy. Layoffs as a result of a shift in business strategy. You guys, you know, we've been seeing a lot of that lately, shifts in business strategy, and a lot of that is attributed to changes in attitude regarding, DEI initiatives. And this is one of the reasons why I've always said black people were dumb to even invest in the idea of DEI initiatives at this stage in American history, being that we already went through our civil rights movement. It was already understood that we want to be judged by the content of our character, by our talent, more so than the color of our skin. But for some reason, we dove all in to this so-called DEI thing, even though it clearly is there to benefit white women and LGBTQ people more so than us. But anyway, in addition to the Tiana series, the studio is also scrapping an unannounced feature-length project that was set to go straight to Disney Plus. Okay, it was unannounced. It's not happening. Who cares? But back to Tiana. It was first announced in December 2020 and was envisioned as a musical featuring Anika Noni Rose reprising her role as Tiana from the 2009 film The Princess and the Frog, the film centering on Disney's first black princess. Now, sources close to the streaming series say that despite best efforts, including several changes to the creative team, Tiana ultimately could not get to where it needed to be given production costs. So it just wasn't worth it financially. It wasn't worth doing this for the first black Disney princess. Nah, just throw it out. Like I said, it's like Black Panther. It's just not worth it. You know, it's not worth continuing this legacy historical character. Now, still, The Princess and the Frog remains a key property for the company, as Tiana is one of Disney's canon princesses. Last year, the Splash Mountain attraction was revamped at both Disney US parks and transformed into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The animation studio is said to be developing a separate short-form special inspired by The Princess and the Frog, which is currently in early development. The details remain under wraps. Now, once again, I can't help but see the parallels here. So it's inspired by The Princess and the Frog, the same way that Wakanda Forever is inspired by Black Panther. There's no real commitment to continuing that lore and building that character. You see what I'm saying? So you have these honest, true black characters that were created and conceived as black being put on the back burner, being kicked out almost as an afterthought, except for what they can wring out of it money wise. Meanwhile, you will invest money in black facing Little Mermaid, black facing Captain America, and once again, these things are just for show. Sam Wilson is not even a well fleshed out character in the movies. You don't see him with a love interest. You don't see, does he have kids? I mean, you don't see any of that. You know what I mean? So how people can think that these black faced characters are somehow uplifting and inspiring. You don't see him being a father. It's like, no, it doesn't do any of that. But once again, I established over a year ago that these things that they're doing for brownie points are just for show anyway. I remember, over a year ago, I highlighted another article on Variety, and I was talking about this, and what it says here: major studios pledged to hire more female filmmakers and people of color were performative, a study finds. Now, let me just read the first couple of paragraphs here for you guys real quick. Despite the box office, now keep in mind this is over a year ago, despite the box office successes of Greta Gerwig's Barbie and Elizabeth Banks' Cocaine Bear, female directors are not getting the same opportunities in Hollywood as their male counterparts. At the same time, major studios, which pledged to re-examine their employment practices in the wake of George Floyd's murder, failed to produce many films from people of color. Isn't it interesting how they are combining the interests of white women, females, and people of color in George Floyd's murder or George Floyd's death? Okay, what does George Floyd's death have to do with women, white women, getting a shot at being directors or writers or whatever? I would say nothing. But see, once again, this is the DEI rub. This is why I said we should never be investing in this. It's a scam, guys. Meanwhile, we're left holding the bag like it's something we were begging for, something we were asking for, but we get nothing, okay? Now, that think tank that they're talking about, that's the stark findings of a new report by USC Annenberg's Inclusion Initiative, which calls the entertainment industry's pledges to support inclusion performative acts and not real steps towards fostering change. It's the second report in as many days to report that despite some important box office milestones for female filmmakers, Barbie was both the year's most successful film and the highest grossing movie ever directed by a woman. Studios still give their highest profile gigs to male directors. Once again, you see, they're talking about George Floyd's killing or death in relation to white women getting their shot at making these movies. All right, now there's nothing wrong with white women getting their shot at making these movies if you want to do that. But I'm just saying how the DEI thing is not something that black people should have ever been invested in. All right, and that's the reason why bringing it back to Tiana, bringing it back to Blade, bringing it back to T'Challa, bringing it back to Ironheart, bringing it back to just about every black character that you can name. That's why they end up being second class. Afterthoughts, just something you can keep up on the shelf. Finn from Star Wars, underdeveloped characters. Why are there all of these underdeveloped black characters? We need to start thinking about that and stop thinking about being up in the ass of white people. This is what I'm talking about. Now, for a lot of you out there, a lot of black viewers, you're happy when you see characters be black-faced or race swapped. You love it. I see you on the internet, on X. As long as it makes white people mad. Oh, I bet white people are going to be real mad about this, but you're not getting shit out of it yourself. You're so busy being preoccupied with sticking it to white people that you can't see that you're not getting anything out of this. Because you think there are some people on YouTube, you got some white guys on YouTube who are complaining about this. You think that's a W for you. Well, let me share a little secret with you guys. Those white content creators that you're talking about, that you love to stay up in the ass of, that live rent-free in your head, they're making a lot of money with their observations. They're making a lot of money complaining about this stuff. So I think they're sleeping very well at night. Meanwhile, your kids are not getting what these studios are pretending that they care about giving to them. That's where our priorities should lie. And if you really want to get into it, you might want to think about independent creation. You might want to think about raising your kids and encouraging your kids to actually make characters of their own. To encourage their artistic side instead of discouraging them by saying that they don't belong in spaces like this. This is for white guys. This is for white people. What are they talking about trying to get into comic books? But that's what we do. That's what we do. But anyway, guys, I wanted to highlight that so you can see what's going on. Unfortunately, the Tiana series has been shelved. It's been canceled. And once again, this shows you where Disney, where their priorities truly are. Marvel, where their priorities truly are when they don't bring back T'Challa. Star Wars, Lucasfilm, where their priorities truly are when they don't develop these black characters. It's all bullshit. All right. And I don't care if I'm the only one who's talking about this in the way that it should be talked about. That's what I'm here for. That's why I am the gospel according to Mark with a C. Now, guys, if you guys want to say something about this, it's your turn. You can get in the comment section. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Once again, thank you to everybody who contributes to the channel through the Super Thanks feature on each and every one of my videos. I will catch you guys on the next one. Rock on.